International star Angelina Jolie came to Berlin today to present her debut as a film director, The Land of Blood and Honey. She's a very political artist, and therefore it is no surprise that this film also has a political dimension, despite the fact that at its core it is a love story. An imprisoned Bosnian woman falls in love with a Serbian, her arch nemesis. It is a very deeply emotional conflict, and this film was shown as a Berlinale special here in Berlin. This is the press conference for the film The Land of Blood and Honey by Angelina Jolie.
Ich habe mir gewünscht, dir vertrauen zu können. War das ein Fehler?
Nein.
Ich fürchte doch. Die Menschen sind oft nicht das, was man glaubt.
Dann muss ich keine Angst mehr haben.
So, hello everybody. Could you please sit down so we can start the press conference? Können Sie sich bitte setzen, damit wir mit der Pressekonferenz beginnen können? Please sit down. Bitte setzen Sie sich, damit wir beginnen können. Dankeschön. Dankeschön. Bitte setzen Sie sich. Ja, trotzdem muss ich es ja mal sagen. So please sit down. And please, during the press conference, don't use the flash. Kein Blitzlicht bitte während der Pressekonferenz.
Ein Fotokamera draußen. During the press conference, you can take photos, but please do not use a flash during the press conference.
No picture with flash. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present on the 62nd International Film Festival Berlin, Out of Competition, In the Land of Blood and Honey, and have a welcome, playing the part of Daniel, Goran Kostic. Playing the part of Ayla, have a very warm welcome for Zana Marjanovic. In the movie, he is Daniel's father. He is now playing the part of Nebojša Rade Srebreniča. Playing the part of Leila, have a welcome for Vanessa Glodojo. Very proud to present her first feature film here in Berlin. Have a welcome for Angelina Jolie. Playing the part of Darko, warm welcome also for Nicola Dorichko. Okay, thank you very much. That was Alexander and Nicola changing, Branko and Nicola changing their names. Now it's have a welcome for Alexander, playing the Alexander Branko Djurjevic. And playing Tarek Boris Lea. And last but not least, playing Anna, have a welcome for Alma Tercic. Before we start the Q&A, I would love to introduce, to ask all the actors of the movie to give us a shortcut how they get into this project, how was the work with Angelina, each from you, and what was the most impact, the most challenging thing making this movie. Could you please start, Goran?
Hello. For this film, I had to audition. I always audition for the films. And it was a process that lasted for about 2 or 3 weeks. First time I was called to come to London. I was given a scene without the context and without any markings of who was behind it, which was kind of liberating. I was just able to throw myself into it and give my interpretation of that scene. 7 days after that, I was recalled by my agent, and they've said they liked what I had to offer, that they would like to see me again. This time they presented the whole script. They gave me 2 or 3 hours. They locked me in a room and said, read the script and tell us what you think about it. And after they asked me, what do you think about it? I said, well, I need to read it again. It was just so obvious that the script was so complicated, complex rather, and that it had a depth which required further readings. Then subsequently later I realized the more I was reading about it, the deeper I was getting into complexity of the story itself. A few days after that, I had another phone call from my casting agent and from my agent saying that, by which time I knew who was behind. I was very happy, of course, proud, excited. I was told that Angelina would like to have a word with me over the phone. We exchanged a few words, and it was obvious that we will have to meet person, eyes to eyes, and see how we click or don't. Nothing was offered at that time yet, so I had to fly to Paris. Angelina was promoting The Salt at the time. We met in the hotel lobby, and maybe after 3, 4, 5 minutes, maybe I got this sense that that relationship, the working relationship we're going to establish is going to be a fruitful one, a positive one, a creative one, a strong one. And I was correct in my speculation. The phone call I got after that was a positive one, and I was finally offered the part of Daniel, which I was very happy and proud to do. And I forgot the rest of the questions. The hardest thing to do? The hardest thing to do was really the whole film. There was not a single moment, and I think this kind of is specific for all the films. Whatever we do in life, I think we should do with passion. And I certainly do my work with passion. And when I do that, I find no moments where I can say this is an easy scene or this is something I do not need to be prepared for. And with this film especially, coming from Sarajevo, being born there and having experienced what my town has experienced, I recognize the duty and the importance of throwing myself into the film with all my strength, all my soul, all my blood and all my might. And I was concerned really that I was not really reaching the level of sophistication and quality of the work which all of my colleagues and Angelina herself, of course, were presenting quite easily over there. But together with Zana and with Angelina, they kind of helped me in reassuring myself that that my best was good enough. And the third question was. The third question Zana will answer on my behalf.
Well, hi. If you remember, what the third question was, or the answer just interrupted me. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a pleasure. It's my second time here. I did a film Snow a few years ago that was also at Berlinale, and also my biggest recommendation for this film. You know, when I was very young, I was 8 when the war started, and you know, I was the only child, so I did everything. I played piano, I went to tennis, my parents, you know, wanted me to do everything. And then, of course, the war started, and I grew up in New York. And when I was 18, I decided to go back to Sarajevo. I just decided that that's what I wanted to do. And everyone in New York said, "What are you doing if you want to be an actress? You don't go back to Sarajevo. You go to Hollywood. You stay in the America. You know, it's where you become an actress." And I just kind of knew that it would always come together, and it came together especially with this project. And thanks to Angelina Jolie for doing a film that really matters, and a film that will stay with me and very many people I spoke to, and hope with you too. For a long, long time. And living in Sarajevo, being surrounded by women who are victims of war, I see that day by day their stories are being forgotten, which is why it's so important that these women, that I got the opportunity to represent these women. And I can only hope I did a good job. Thank you.
I would like to say that I'm very happy I'm here. Berlin Film Festival for me is the most interesting festival in the world. And I'm happy that, you are doing as you are doing. It's really good. And I was here many times in competitions with films from my country, with Živojin Pavlović, Makavejev, Krsto Papić, all these guys here. Sometimes we won this festival. And today I must say that when Angelina sent me this script about war, she said in Bosnia, but also about some incredible and strange love story. You know, I read a lot of these scripts about war in my country, and I can't say I like that much. And except something what were coming from that country, like Grbavica, which was excellent. And I fall in love with this story, and I said I'll be part of this. I want to be part of this story, part of this film. I think it's very important what you did, Angelina. It's not a documentary about war in Bosnia. It's a film about one very strong relationship between two young people who would be probably happy parents in few years if this war wouldn't happen in this country. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to be here in Berlin. It's my first time and it's great. It's fantastic. First I read the script. I didn't know who wrote it, but I read something that first time in my life I read actually. The script who was really dealing very profoundly and very precisely about what I lived during the war. So I was extremely touched. To read this script, it takes 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. For me, it took me 4 or 5 hours to read it, because it was very painful for me, each page. Then I accepted to do this role of Leila, and working with Angelina was really most beautiful experience that as an actress I could have experienced. She helped us a lot, she worked fantastically with us, and she guided us so well. The most important thing that actually she gave me as an actress is that she gave me the words and the opportunity to express what I lived during the war. When you are a writer or director or painter, you can do it yourself. You employ yourself and you express your emotions that are inside of you and what you lived through or you know. But as an actor, you have to be chosen, and Angelina gave me this opportunity, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful to her.
How did I get the part? I didn't get the part.
Okay,
your turn.
I went to some casting, of course. I cast for a Goran's role, but I didn't get it. Yes. And they say to me, she liked it a lot, and you get the part of the best friend of the main character. I said, who is she? They say it's Miss Angelina. And I didn't believe. I was thinking it's a joke because we didn't know what is a... Yes, Robert De Niro, yes, cool. I believe you now. And then after, it was really, and I was blessed. It's a wonderful experience to work with her. She's a perfect actress, you all already know. She's a perfect director. She knows how to speak with the actors. She understands all the problems of acting, and it was good experience to meet all the people from my ex-country to work together on the very hard subject and very tiny emotions about it, and all our experience of the war and everything, to talk and to become a friend with all of these people. I'm very proud with this project. I'm very proud to be part of it.
Hi, I share a similar experience like Nicola, but I will. My name. Yes, Nicola. I will be short. I was born in Sarajevo, and I'm from mixed breed. My mother is Muslim, my father was Serb, and if you remember in the movie No Man's Land, I played a Bosnian soldier. So when Angie called me and she offered me a role of Serbian soldier, I said maybe it's time to try to do that, to make a score of mother-father 1-1. So I decided to play this time Serbian, so to make it even.
Go. As everybody, I'm very happy that I'm here. I'm first time in Berlin on the festival. My experience was I also was on the casting during the Sarajevo Film Festival. In that time I had a premiere of my first feature movie, Circus Columbia, and then I met a woman, Gail Stevens. She was the casting director on this movie. She was in Sarajevo, and she invited me to participate in casting. And afterwards, as Nicola, I didn't believe, and they told me that Angelina is directing it. I was also thinking that is a joke because I didn't. They didn't tell me until I read the script. And then when I read the script, they told me who the director is, and I didn't believe because the script was really, it was really life authentic, and everything about the war was really authentic, and I couldn't believe that somebody wrote it that didn't live through our war. And that was the most wonderful thing for me, to see that if you want, if you care, you can go deep enough in try to investigate everything, every aspect of everything that was happening in Sarajevo during the war, in all the region. And as everybody else, I'm really proud to be the part of this story. I was 6 when war began, 6 years old, and I don't remember much. I remember everything, but don't remember much like the olders do. So this was kind of new experience of that war for me. And it was very hard and difficult, of course, because there was during the shooting, I noticed on my colleagues, especially the older ones, that they were very emotionally deep in it, because they lived in their best years, they lived through the war. So I think, and I must say, now there is a big controversy in our region about the movie and everything, and I think that is for me, that is one of the greatest things that is happening right now, because that confirms, I don't know, am I rude to say it's my theory, but I think that our region is a slave of their history, and I'm saying this every time that I have a chance, because we are really the slaves of everything that happened, and we are stuck in one place, and until we try to not be that kind of slaves, we cannot move forward. So that what's happening now, that controversy just confirms everything about that theory, that we are still stuck and we cannot move forward. And so thank you, really, just for had an idea or desire to do this kind of story with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so this is my first time in Berlin and on this festival, and I'm very, very happy and nervous in the same time. And first time I went to the casting for this movie, and they didn't, of course, tell me who is the director. And when they told me, I didn't believe it, because, I mean, Angelina Jolie to come in Bosnia and Herzegovina was like impossible. And when I go to the Budapest, when I first time I have to meet her, I have this big, huge monologue in my head, how she will see that I'm funny one, that I'm a good actress and everything. And the first time when I saw her, I just say hi. And I didn't say anything else. And then she started to speak, and after a while I realized it will be a pleasure to work with her, like it was, because she gave me that, that feeling that I can do whatever I want to do, that this story is more important than us, than the acting, than everything, because this raped women in the war, there are so many of them in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it's not only in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What was very special, it's universal story that's happening right now on the east, or happening in the Berlin when was Second World, and everywhere there are raped women, abused women. And now I have opportunity with her to work on that, to just take that idea, take that pain that the women have, and to be more truthful. And she really helped me with that too, because she gave me on the set, she told me, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it today, we can do it another day. So I just feel like release, and I go, on the set, and she was like mother to us. She was helping all the time, pushing us to move on, because she understands how it's on the set. Because first time in my life, Angelina Jolie is here next to me and next to camera, and she's watching me. And she's also actress, so she knows how is that feeling being in front of camera. So I'm very blessed to be with her. I'm very blessed that she's part of my life now. And now she's like, so good friend to us. And I just can tell thank you for everything that you are doing for us.
Well, thanks to all of you, and now we start the Q&A. The first question here, please, Aniel.
Yes, hello, Saan Samani from Iran. I have a question for Miss Angelina Jolie and one for the two actors who play the part of the lovers. First of all, I would like to know why you decided not to give a, deeper look into the reasons for the war, and why you decided to give just a black and white way of looking at it, that it is portrayed as a hate towards Muslims story?
Well, first of all, I think you have every right to write a review and speak in whatever way, however you see the film, because everybody, of course, interprets art differently and views it differently from maybe their own background and their own personal view of art and relationships and story, and so that's how you see it. Clearly, you know that's not the way it was intended. And I think many people do not see it that way. In fact, I know that most people don't see it that way.
Second question for the actors. I would like to know whether the relationship of the two is a romantic or turns to a hostage relationship that is based on, well, sexual desire, because at some point it wasn't clear anymore to me whether this is becoming a love story or not. Thank you.
Well, something that I always appreciated in art is that it doesn't manipulate with people's opinions. It rather serves as something that is given to the audience to be the judge of. So you don't get an opportunity as an actor to necessarily work with a director who will understand and appreciate this form of art. And what all three of us talked about while we were making this film is that we don't want to tell you what to think about the love between the two, or is there love? It's up to you to decide. I have my own, of course, version, and I know my truth. I would say it's about a love that would have been beautiful and could have been beautiful, but it didn't happen because the war did change everything. And being in the war, I know that it changes not only the surroundings, not only your life, but it changes people. And that's the story that we wanted to tell. So for me, I don't think it's possible, but I would like you to think about what you feel and believe.
It's a complex story, the relationship between Daniel and Ayla. And it starts in one time, in one specific place, under specific circumstances. And then it lives and develops and turns into something else over the period of 4 years. And of course, echoing on everything Angelina and Zana said so far, what is important is to consider the circumstances, the background, the social conditions in which this relationship develops the way it does. And I have nothing else to say really, but that love, passion, sex, relationship, even forced sex at one point maybe even, do come into mind and consideration, but you do have to find your own place and time. Maybe you can judge these things.
Okay, there's a question over there, any else? And please just do one question, because we have so many questions for our guests, please.
It's Bodo Kling, SWR German Television. It's a question to Mrs. Jolie. Ms. Jolie, meanwhile you reached a quite privileged position in the so-called star system. How do you think in person could you fulfill this role in a most serious way?
I think I understand the question is that with having had success in my career, and now choosing to do other things, or I see. Well, I do. You know, I do the best I can. I think we all, you know, as we grow older, and the more we learn about the world, and the more we realize we don't know, we try to educate ourselves. And I've done the best I could to educate myself on different conflicts and post-conflict situations, and have traveled for over 10 years. And there are certainly certain conflicts that have really pulled at my heart, and certain issues that I've done my best to learn about, and I've been compelled to speak about because they matter so much to me. And I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to have moments like this where I can speak to all of you and speak about things that really matter. So I've been blessed with that, and I hope I'm trying to do the best I can do, and that's all I can do, but I try.
Okay, next question in the middle, please. Yeah, it's you.
Hello, I'm Natalia from Ukraine. It's a question for you, Angelina. There are many very horrible scenes in your film. Of course, it's a war, it's brutal, but there are children being killed. And I want to ask how necessary it was for you to show it so directly. You're a mother of 6 children, and can imagine.
It's exactly why, actually, because, and I thank you for that question. There's always a question in art, of course, when you do films about war, how much you need to show, what you should show. I think everybody that knows this war, lives through this war, knows that what you see on film is a small piece of how horrible it actually was. There is no film that could create the true horrors of war. But we do have a responsibility to show that it is truly horrible. And it should be hard to watch, it should linger, because that's how bad it is, and that's the reality of what we see. And if people, you know, I actually am somebody, when I see a war film, if it's too easy to watch, I don't feel comfortable. I feel it's very important to show people the horrors of war. And we didn't, I think if you look closely, I did try. There are many things where people are taken around the corner and you don't see, or there are many scenes, there are rape scenes where it's only boots and a glass moving. So at every opportunity, I certainly, you know, I didn't show everything I could, but there were certain moments that I felt compelled, and especially with the child, being a mother, it was my worst nightmare. But in fact, you never see the child dead. You never ever see blood or a body. You just think you do. And that's part of film. So, thank you.
A question in the middle here, please.
Hi, I'm Sandra from Serbian National TV. I have a question for you, Angelina. Why can't we see other army in your film? Did you have advisors during writing the screenplay? And does the figure that 50,000 raped Bosnian women also relates to the Serbian and Croat victims in Bosnia? Thank you.
Of course, it's all Bosnian women. 50,000, and it's up to as many as, it's estimated that it could be as many as, which is exactly what we say, as many as 50,000, which is what the UN and the EU estimate. There are also people on the ground in Bosnia that have estimated and calculated up to over 40,000. I know that's a figure that people often, you know, it's a hot figure. I know that in politics they use that as a kind of hotbed figure. But the reality is one woman raped is too many. So this was part of the war, as you know. And yes, of course, there were women on all sides. It's why there are people in The Hague from all sides. When you ask about which army we show, we do show the resistance from the Bosnian Muslim side. They were, in general, not in uniform. Majority of them did not have the money and funds for uniform. And even one of the actors who's in the film is actually wearing exactly what his brother wore in the war. He's wearing his actual uniform. So it's very accurate. But I do know, this is not a documentary, as Rade said. It's an artistic interpretation. I tried to bring as much as I could, but there are many different sides to war, many different sides to this war. And I hope there are more and more films made that show all different sides and elaborate on this theme in many different ways and tell many different stories. But we did the best we could with ours.
And also, Angelina, if it's happening in a camp, in a Serbian camp, what do you think? How is it possible to have so close a Muslim army or Croatian army? It's happening there. It's a story about this, not about some other camp.
This was this particular
also
story,
existed in Bosnia,
but there are many different stories to be told in this war, and many different ways to tell the story of this war. And as many people have told extraordinary stories of this war, you know, and hope they continue to do so.
There's a question here on the left side, please.
Hello, my name is Cameron Egri from Steam Magazine in Berlin. It's a very pleasure to meet you here all together. My question goes to Angelina Jolie. Ms. Jolie, what was your own experience to make this movie, and what was the biggest challenge for you? Thank you.
Well, the biggest challenge, as you can all imagine, is part of what we all discuss so heavily in this. The biggest challenge is trying to find a balance. The politics of this region and the complications and the sensitivity to the situation it's quite extreme, but I wanted to tell this story because I was 17 when this war started, and like most people around the world, certainly most people in America, we know very little about this war, and I felt a human responsibility to educate myself on a war that happened in my generation, and so I wrote this, never imagining I would make a film, but I wrote this because I wanted to learn about what had happened, and the more I read and the more I was educated, the more moved I was by the situation and wanted to express it to the world. When I wrote the story, I knew that the important thing, and the important thing for me stands beyond the film, is what you see in front of you, is that we all, Serbian, American, Bosnian, we all, coming together to try to tell a story, and we all share with each other, and we all formed strong friendships, and we all learned from each other, and that's been the most wonderful thing for me, is I've learned so much about this extraordinary part of the world, and these extraordinary survivors, and these great people, and great artists, extraordinary artists, and so it's been a real privilege, and I hope that the film speaks to people.
Okay, the question on the right side, please.
Hello.
Could you please stand up?
Thank you.
Thanks.
I am Cristiana Allievi from Italy, and I would like to know two things from Angelina Jolie. The first one is, how did you find the right balance? Because after 5 minutes I would have liked to go out of the room because it was really strong for me, but I couldn't. So I would like to know, how did you manage in this way? And the second question is, I could feel that you were a woman, but in a good way. There is a very...
I understand. No, I completely understand.
You understand what you... I mean, it's a masculine, let's say, it talks about war,
it's
but
a
at
war
the same
film,
time you are a
woman's
female. Yes.
point of view.
Yes, and I could feel that there is a kind of good balance, and congratulations, because it was really well acted.
Thank you very much. I'm confused with the woman question. Find the balance. I don't. Well, I'm so happy that you feel there is that balance, because I did work so hard on it, and it means so much to all of us to find that balance. I think hopefully it came from a place that all of us wanted to tell this story, and we really came from a really good place. We wanted to tell it for the right reasons. We didn't want to tell it to point fingers, maybe at the international community, but other than that, nobody else. We wanted to learn and explore from each other. I didn't want to make it black and white and good guys and bad guys. It was really an intention to let's try to learn from each other and learn about what happens to society, to human beings, and how they're changed over years of war. And I suppose, being a woman, I can't help but to bring that to a film, and with an extraordinary actress, playing the lead role, and all of the ladies who worked on this, all of the actresses, they brought so much of their personal experiences and so much of what it is, just as women, they taught me so much, and women from this part of the world are different from American women in a wonderful way. So I learned about them culturally, and they enriched my life and taught me a lot. And I hope that is in the film, and that you can feel that in the film. Thank you.
I'm awfully sorry, but this is the last question for today.
Hi, my name is Anke from German television, from the Idea Moog magazine. You just said that you wanted to work on projects that really matter and do things that matter. Is it going to be difficult for you to now carry on working and maybe doing things that do not matter that much?
You mean my action movies?
Yes.
You find different ways to make things matter. I think that, for example, certain fun action movies are still somehow empowering for my daughters and things like that. But yes, it will be hard. I haven't acted for 2 years, and I haven't done anything since this, and the next thing I'm looking at is a Disney movie, because I feel it's maybe the best thing to find that balance and do something that is just for children, because it is hard to find something that it has been so wonderful to be a part of a project that really does matter so much to me, and it's the first thing I've ever written. It's the purest, of all the films I've ever made, it's the one that means the most to me, and is the most true to what I believe and closest to my heart. So it will be very, very hard to do something else. So, thank you.
And the Berlin Film Festival is very proud to have you
we don't know,
here
they're writing it.
presenting in the land of blood and honey. We are really proud and happy to have all of you here. Thanks for being here. Thanks
Thank
for
you
presenting
very
the
much,
film.
everybody.
And good luck with the movie.
Thank you.